Thank you so very much. It's been my pleasure to be here, and we hope peace will return to the plateau and to every part of Nigeria soonest.
Amen.
Thank you so much. All right, let's go straight to Joshua Imara. You remember earlier on we're joined by Ani Omoniyu from Lagos here concerning the protest that is supposed to kick off April 7th. But Ni joined us earlier on from Ikeja, and there were no sights, no scene, nothing happening, especially from the protesters. Life is ongoing as smoothly as possible, where economic issues are being discussed or debated by others. Other people are just, ensuring that they get to work and do what they have to do. But let's find out where Joshua simply is, where he'll be joining us from. He'll be also looking at what the protest looks like wherever he's from. All right, but let's go for a quick break. Stay with us. This is Breakfast Central.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central here on News Central Television. Earlier we told you that the global price for Brent crude oil has dropped to $65 and a barrel, and these has widespread implications for Nigeria's economy and our foreign exchange earnings. Now, join us this morning to discuss the implication of this and more is energy consultant Seun Dania. He joins us live from the United Kingdom. Good morning, Seun, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, the big question here is that how are Trump's tariffs, he called it Liberation Day in America, how has it affected the price of crude oil? Why do we see a drop? And what implications does it have for Nigeria that is highly dependent on forex from the sale of crude oil?
Pretty much, I believe that the way to affect crude oil, everybody will be trying to maximize, and of course, America is a huge purchaser of crude oil globally and from different countries. So everybody will be believing that America, with the current way that Donald Trump is going, they would definitely have a very huge reserve, and it might be good to think that America will be, beginning to refine their, and basically they already refined, but, explore more, produce more, and then, build more internal capacity for themselves, meaning that they may not be buying from the outside. So a lot of people will be trying to get out what they want to do. So we see that the people in the OPEC have, kind of like started reducing their own quota just to, basically fix this price issue. But I mean, evidently, everybody will be trying to push out as much as possible right now. The way it affects Nigeria, unfortunately, Nigeria is very dependent on crude oil revenue. Our budget was essentially, benchmarked to a price of $77 thereabout per barrel. And this has, this drop will definitely affect Nigeria significantly. Even though we've not even been meeting our quota, our current OPEC quota is about 1.4 million barrels, and Nigeria has barely been producing 1.4 million barrels. This further drop in the price of crude oil will definitely affect our prices, which means the only one thing we need to also be thinking seriously about diversification.
Seun Dania, is there a way that we could have foreseen the implications of what we're seeing now, and is there a way that we can better prepare ourselves? And I'm asking in terms of individuals, businesses, and the impact of this, tariff. So what should we have done differently, and is there anything that we can do differently now?
Technically, of course, diversification has always been, most of the economies have been diversifying from, just owning single income. Nigeria depends on crude oil for over 80-something% of its budget. So we have other revenue sources. We have a lot of resources in Nigeria that we know that can add to our, to our budgets. So what we could have always done is to see a future where we are not fully dependent on crude oil. We have other revenue streams. So in the event whereby there's a drop, whatever, there are a lot of things that can happen. It doesn't even have to be Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is probably the worst thing that's happening at the moment. But yeah, there are a lot of things that can happen, and diversifying your economy is the safest way to hedge against global economies. However, I personally think, it's a retaliation if you look at it, because I don't know the maths, but evidently the chart that was put out is response of the United States to other countries, and a lot of other countries have certain tariffs for American products coming into their country, and then the United States decided to do otherwise. So yeah, Trump is telling everybody that they are no longer going to be big brother to everybody. While everybody's protecting their own economies, yeah, they expect America to take in everything and people, that kind of thing. So yeah, for Nigeria, we should diversify. As things like this are happening, we have to also look into now. Nigeria has a lot of revenue sources. We have a lot of money coming from several things. We have gold in the West. So many countries, there's agriculture. Our leaders need to start, and even as the people, we all need to start thinking inwardly and looking at all those resources that we have, that can generate income and develop our country. That's not crude oil.
All right, I'd like us to look at the aspect of the budget. When the budget was initially passed by Mr. President, it led to the singing of On Your Mandate in the House of Assembly. Later on, there was an upward review of the budget where the dollar was pegged at $75 per barrel. Now that this is happening, looking at it from an economic aspect and point of view and its impact on every single Nigerian, and most importantly, on the budget, how is this going to affect the economic, impact of the country?
So I want to believe that Nigeria is actually not in a very bad position because as we are right now, I believe that we've sold crude oil. We have some forward contracts for crude oil, which means we're already taking money for some of the crude oil that we're producing right now. So if we look at it on the grand scale, on the wider time scale, the prices may still adjust, but we've taken some money, for some of the crude oil. So we're not exactly in a bad place. I want to believe that a lot of the money to finance the budget should already be available. So whatever is going on right now should not directly affect. But of course, the market would always react to the news and whatnot. But in the event whereby we have not done that and we're constantly living hand to mouth, that is, we are selling on a daily basis, we are basing our expenditure on everyday sales, then we'll have a problem. All we can do is, if we then have storage capacity, we store crude oil for some time, and wait till the prices readjust before we then now sell off.
Now, Oliver and I had a bit of a slight debate this morning on if this will affect the pump price of petrol. I bought a liter at 925 naira yesterday. What implications does it have? Because a lot of Nigerians would also be asking these questions. That since you said we've deregulated and the global price of oil determines the pump price, should we now start expecting to buy at 400 naira a liter?
So based on the calculations that they are giving us, yes, we expect that that's what's supposed to happen. But obviously, that's not what's going to happen, because then we'll have there'll be tighter constraints on the availability of funds for us locally. And let's not also forget that the naira is also taking a hit. So there are two different things. While the oil price is dropping, the naira is losing value.
But they said market forces. Why wouldn't they allow market forces to do their work?
Yeah, the market forces are at play. But then the naira is also losing value. So if the naira was stable and fixed at a particular rate against the dollar, then yes, we would have seen an appreciation in the price, or a depreciation in the price of petroleum products against the naira. But because the naira is losing value against the dollar, it makes it very difficult for that to happen.
Well, okay. So I think another concern would be what implications might these have for foreign investment? Do you think that this might also affect the capital investments into Nigeria? Is that a concern that we should have?
So for capital investments, it's not straightforward, but it's always straightforward. And because we can see what Donald Trump is doing. Basically, it's about creating an enabling environment and asking people to come into your country to do business. Because with Nigeria, we already have the population, we have the workforce, we have the resources, we have the land, for different kinds of businesses to thrive. Basically, we are strategic in Africa, which we already know. So it's now for us to actually think about, inviting people to come in, tell them why they should come invest in Nigeria. Right now, as it is, because of all this, it shouldn't be. Nigeria also should be a hub because, I think when I looked at the tariffs, it was basically about 14%. So people from other countries will probably think, okay, well, if our own tariffs are higher, we could also go and establish our factories, our industries in Nigeria and export from Nigeria, and then that should definitely, reduce how much it's going to cost for them to do business. Because I don't think the tariffs are on the location of the business or the origin of the company. It's actually from the location of the source.
Okay. Anyway, we'll get to see what this would lead to, by the way. And I mean, as far as we're concerned, let's see what this would, bring to Nigerians. Hopefully, we'll be able to, shoulder the responsibilities that come with it. Talking about Nigeria's current government. I think that's all that we're going to take on this part. Thank you so much, Seun, for joining us.